Bond's been to space. And now Fast and Furious may be going to space. Hello and one and all, welcome back to another video on Joseph Reviews, and welcome back to my Bond film series, guys. I hope you are enjoying the series so far. Like I said, I reviewed from Dr. No up to The Spy Who Loved Me, and now we're on to Roger Moore's fourth Bond film in the series, that being the space one, Moonraker, which is directed by Lewis Gilbert, who directed You Only Live Twice and The Spy Who Loved Me. Once again stars Roger Moore's Bond. You have also Michael Lonsdale as Drax as the villain. You also have Lewis Charles as Dr. Goodhead as the Bond girl in the series, and you also have Richard Kiel returning as Jules. And like with all my older reviews, like I always say, this may contain some spoilers, so you've been warned. Let's talk about Moonraker. So, the Moonraker opens up with the usual gun barrel sequence. Has this John Williams sort of music, dun, dun, sort of in a camp way the thing is playing, but it's still cool nonetheless. Then it opens up on this airplane, then you see this rocket that says Moonraker on it, and then later you get to see Bond on a plane. It starts having a fight, pushes a guy off, and he gets pushed off, and Jaws is back. Hooray! Then Bond is start flying and everything downwards and tries to get the parachute off the guy. And then Jules is coming after him and, tries to bite Bond's leg and, eventually uses the parachute. And Jaws, being Jaws, a tough guy, he wrecks it and he falls into a circus. And then we get to another title sequence in the series where we have Shirley Bassey, who did Goldfinger, which was her best one that she'd done, and Diamonds Are Forever, who I believe also did, and now she's doing Moonraker, like the Moonraker goes. It's a pretty good song. Yeah, it's not one of my favourites, but it's a pretty good song. I mean, Shirley Bassey is definitely one of the best Bond singers. Then of course we open in MI6 and see all the usual MI6 characters, MQ, Moneypenny, and the you see this sort of MI6 inspector sort of character who is with M and everything, and and then we are introduced to Lewis and Charles, the main Bond girl, Dr. Goodhead. Can I help you? Yes, my name is Bond, James Bond. I'm looking for Dr. Goodhead. You just found her. A woman. Yeah, there's a lot of really good, memorable lines in Bond films. Yes, and even in the campiest ones, yes, and we are going to talk about that later in this review. And then Bond sort of gets put onto this, machine and everything. It's kind of like a torture scene. I mean, the first torture scene we really got was the Goldfinger scene with the laser and everything. And later on with the newer Bond films, yep. So this is kind of the torture scene for a Roger Moore Bond film, except it's kind of campy. It looks quite cartoonish, especially when it's spinning round and round really fast. But it stops eventually and Bond survives that. And then we're also introduced to Michael Lonsdale, Drax, who is the main Bond villain, Hugo Drax. You see him shoot all these birds and everything is outside everything, and then, has a henchman as well. Let me just look who it is. Trying to find who. Chang, yes, Chang is the name of the henchman in Moonraker. Yes, but Jaws really is the main henchman in the movie, but you know, but Chang is more of Hugo Drax's henchman. But yeah, and later on you get possibly one of the weirdest scenes in Bond history where you know Bond is riding on this boat, then you see these other guys trying to attack and everything. That you see this coffin and everything, and someone's actually in there. You know, Bond throws a knife, and the guy eventually dies in the coffin, and we get a kind of a rip-off scene from The Spy Who Loved Me where Bond is driving the Lotus onto the beach and everything. Well, Bond drives the boat on to the ground where all the pedestrians are and everything. You know, they're all looking at it weirdly, even the pigeon as well. If you notice. Yeah, that's Daniel Craig, but that's not. We're not talking about that. Yeah, it's a pretty dumb scene, you know. I mean, that's yeah, it's a lot more campier series Roger Moore than what the Connery films were because you know you can't always have the same style as the other people and everything. But I kind of understand that. But yeah, this is definitely the campiest, one of the campiest Bond films in this series, if not the campiest to some people. And yet you see this sort of this elevator going to another place and everything. You know, Jaws is in this fight and everything. You know, Jaws is biting the line and everything. They have their fight and everything, and you know, Jaws crashes, and we get another pretty silly moment where Jaws falls in love with a young girl. You know, they just start smiling at each other. I mean that just doesn't really work for Jaws because Jaws was such an imitating villain for a henchman, and like he was just really good in The Spy Who Loved Me. In my opinion, he was better in The Spy Who Loved Me, but he's still good in here. Just yeah, just that love scene is it's just out of place. Oh yes, forgot. But before that, you see Bond, you know, finding all these uh, glass protections and everything. You know, Bond starts fighting Chang, who is Drax's henchman. He starts throwing him onto a piano eventually. Yeah, I just forgot to mention that because that takes place before the Jaws fight, but whatever. Then you also get kind of a boat scene, which is sort of another action-ish scene. You know, where Jaws breaks the steering wheel and Bond eventually escapes with the kite. Which we get closer to Bond going into space. You know, we're eventually in space and everything, and you know, there's some action going on. For Your Eyes Only was originally going to be the next Bond film after The Spy Who Loved Me, but Star Wars was such a big success, if you can tell. Han Solo, Coca-Cola. Yeah, that's why I'm here for this review, because of that. You know, it's going up into space and everything. You see all these laser gun action and everything, and you see Jaws portraying Drax and everything, starts being on Bond's side and everything. You know, Bond is taking out Drax. Take a step of mankind. Where's Drax? He had to fly. And we get to see actually Jaws talk for some reason. I'm like, okay. I mean, cheers to us. Like, I just don't think it works, and you know, I mean, and yes, yeah, Bond and Holly, if that's the girl's name, let me quickly check that. No, Dolly, sorry, Dolly, that's the girl, who Jaws falls in love in. You know, eventually the space they're in eventually explodes, but Jaws basically can survive anything, and then you see Bond get rid of all of these laser things, you know, starts ending up with, you know, Dr. Goodhead and everything, and that's the movie finished. So yeah, guys, the Bond girl's pretty good in there. You know, Doctor Who, good head. I mean, she's a pretty good Bond girl. She's nowhere near as good as other Bond girls like Pussy Galore or uh, Tracy or Ursula Andress or Jane Seymour, because those are better Bond girls in my opinion. And Agent Triple X as well is pretty good as well. But yeah, and Michael Lonsdale Drax, pretty good villain, nothing really too special. But yeah, the Moonraker is a very campy Bond film, and I can definitely do see why people may hate on this one. I mean, personally, I don't think it's the worst film in the series, but we've still got a little way to go. And, you know, it's got some camp moments here and there. But yeah, it's not like a great movie, but overall, guys, Moonraker, you know, has some generally good moments. You know, the pre-title sequence, the parachute thing is pretty cool. You know, this movie's kind of boring to watch. I mean, it feels like a cartoon and everything in certain places. I mean, the fall in love Jaws thing is just out of place. But yeah, really, guys, Moonraker, I just don't really consider to be that good of a Bond film. I mean, it's not bad, like some people consider it to be, and that's okay. But really, I would say this is easily the weakest of the Lewis Gilbert directed films. And on my ratings scale for Moonraker, I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 10. Alrighty guys, that was my review on Moonraker. Comment down below, let me know what your opinion is on Moonraker. Where do you rank it with the Roger Moore Bond films and Bond films in general? Let me know all of that in the comments below. Stay tuned for my next review, where we're now getting For Your Eyes Only, which is the next Bond review. So stay tuned for that, for Your Eyes Only, which is the next Bond review, which is going to be later this month. And stay tuned for more review soon for like new movies or classics, anything really. As always, comment, like, subscribe, and notify the bell before you leave. And share this video. Don't forget to click on all of my social media links, which are in the description below. And as always, guys, until my next video, I shall see you guys then, and peace.